I hate to have to start here today, but I have a sort of epidemiological gun to my head for metaphorical purposes called the Delta variant and called anti-vaxxerism. And it's just bad news about this pandemic that we just can't seem to shake. Thanks to people refusing to get vaccinated and thanks to the highly contagious Delta variant, average daily cases here in the United States are up 122% in just over 3 weeks, more than doubling in just 3 weeks, up from their bottom of about 12,000 cases a day. We had gotten down to about 12,000 cases a day. By the way, still more than the 10,000 case per day mark that Dr. Anthony Fauci established over a year ago as sort of like, we need to get below that to say it's under control. We almost got down to that. And now cases back up 122% to about 27,000 a day. This is really quick, and it's because of the rapidly spreading 60% more contagious Delta variant, combined with too many people just choosing not to get vaccinated. There's vaccines everywhere. They're coming out. You can't walk through a pharmacy without just stumbling over vaccines. And 20% of the country just not interested. And the good news is, and we'll get back to this, if you are vaccinated, you are really well protected against the Delta variant. If you are vaccinated and you get the virus in one of these, what are called breakthrough infections, you're likely not to have symptoms. And if you do have a symptomatic vaccinated case, it's likely not to be serious. You're not likely to be hospitalized. You're not likely to die. But nothing is perfect. Everything is bell curve distribution. And some vaccinated people who do everything right will get sick and they will die. And every person who chooses not to get vaccinated makes that more likely. We wondered, though, cases are up, but will deaths be up? Because with so many people vaccinated, we might see cases, but we won't see deaths go up. We said 3 weeks ago, we need 3 weeks to answer that question because deaths lag cases by 3 weeks. And sadly, the answer there is yes as well. You have to look carefully because it's still a small uptick in terms of raw numbers. But on a percentage basis, deaths are now up almost 20%. Deaths per day in the U.S. from COVID bottomed out about a week ago at 218 per day. They have ticked back up 20% to 259 per day. We have only fully vaccinated about half of the United States. If you look at vaccinations per day, you see that we are now back down to the daily vaccination levels of early January, when we had almost no vaccine availability. We're now doing a pathetic, flaccid, weak 500,000 doses a day. We have all the vaccines. You can just walk in almost anywhere, and we're only doing 500,000 doses a day. And since many of those are parts of a 2-dose regimen, we're really only completing a vaccination protocol for probably about 350,000 people per day. 0.1% of the population per day. It's humiliating, it's pathetic, and the virus is spreading. It's not some abstract thing. Oh, vaccinations are down, but it has no real impact. Cases up 122%, deaths up almost 20%. Not just happening in the US, although it's particularly bad here. Globally, cases are now back up 31% from their low. Globally, deaths are now back up about 3% from their low. Remember, deaths follow cases by 3 to 4 weeks. Nearly half of Republicans in the United States just don't want the vaccine. People in other countries are falling all over themselves to try to get the limited vaccines that are available. And in the United States, nearly half of Republicans say, nah, I don't want to go and get it. It's horrifying stuff. Dr. Eric Topol, who has been a guest on the program before, posted to his Twitter, there are places in the United States with vaccination rates as low as 15%, 1-5. Newton, Missouri, 16% vaccination. Douglas, 15%. Reynolds, 15%. This is unconscionable. Now, if there is any good news, we'll go back to something I mentioned at the top of the segment. It is once again the reassurance that the vaccines work really well. We can't control the fact that even as vaccinated people, we are more at risk thanks to people who refuse to get vaccinated. That we can't directly control. We can try to convince them, but we can't change the math of that. But being able to get vaccinated oneself is a big piece, because the latest numbers are that 99% of those who are currently hospitalized are unvaccinated people. So the level of protection that you can unilaterally give yourself just by going and getting vaccinated is absolutely huge. It's not perfect, but it's absolutely huge. And that's the reassuring thing. The hope would be, and this is, depending on whether you look at Pfizer or Moderna, and you look at it, there's a lot of details in this. The hope would be maybe by the end of fall, by winter, maybe not until early 2022, the vaccine that will be available will be one that is already tailored for the Delta variant. But as we know, the more it spreads, the more opportunity to mutate and to go to some new variant that the vaccine will not be tailored to. There's now talk of this Lambda variant from Australia. We don't know much about it. There's the possibility that it's even more contagious than Delta. We don't know about the mortality rate. These are all questions. And because we don't have answers to those questions, what question do we have an answer to right now? Well, the question is, how can you give yourself drastic protection and protect others? It's just you go and get vaccinated. It's that simple. So it's depressing. I'm not going to lie. It is very, very depressing, but it is where we are today. And hopefully we will be able to accelerate vaccination. I don't know what it'll take at this point. I know that a third of those who say, I don't want it, say, if it receives full approval from the FDA, I will go and get vaccinated. 1/3 of those who don't currently want the vaccine say, I will get it if it gets full authorization, full approval from the FDA. That's coming soon. So we will soon see if we are going to see that. For the longest time, I was having trouble finding snacks that are healthy but actually taste great and fill me up and satisfy a craving. And that's why it's great that I stumbled upon Monk Pack, and we asked them to be one of our sponsors. Monk Pack Keto Nut and Seed Bars are delicious snacks that have 1 gram of sugar or less, only 2 to 3 grams of net carbs, and just 150 calories, perfect for a keto or low carb diet, or anybody who, like me, just prefers to eat a low sugar diet. I love the Monk Pack Keto Nut and Seed Bars because it's really just a great balance of sweet and salty, soft and chewy, but with a nice crunch from the nuts and seeds. Flavors include caramel or caramel, you tell me, sea salt dark chocolate, and peanut butter dark chocolate. That's my favorite. They'll give you all of your money back if you don't love it. Go to monkpack.com. The link is down below, and they'll give you 20% off any of their products when you use coupon code PAKMAN.